Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. And today, we're taking a good look at some altcoins as there's quite a lot of juicy stuff that's going around. Having said that, I want to quickly take a little bit of a look at every single altcoin in the top 10 as things are very interesting. And what I mean with that, guys, is that the entire crypto market has been moving sideways for like a week and a half or more, or even a couple of weeks. Bitcoin right now at 42.5 thousand, Ethereum right at about 3, BNB right at about $400, XRP at 83.4, Terra at $94, Cardano, crazy pump today, one of the only ones at about $1.08, being up 12%. And the reason I didn't just mention the percentages to you is because almost every single one of these coins is up like 0% today. It is really interesting to watch. And then we have Solana up 3% at about $94 and AVAX at up, again, 0 at $85. So it is very interesting to watch this as the entire top is just up nothing, which is peculiar. Having said that, I'm going to try put for every video that I make timestamps down below again. But let me know if you guys really enjoyed that, and also let me know down below what your favorite altcoins are, because right now I'm going to talk about everything that I think is important in crypto, and again I'll leave the timestamps down below, but I would definitely like some feedback on what exactly you guys find important. Like for example, Algorand, it was covered a lot in the comments section, you guys were requesting it, so here is a little update. Algorand reaches yet another milestone along the way to our performance and scalability goals. See what's new from our product and engineering team. Another thing I really want to know from you guys is if I should use the dark theme for Twitter or light one. Because if I use light, I think the camera looks a little bit better, but dark, a lot of you guys said is better for the eyes, so let me know. Alright, Algorand posted this, or specifically the developer section. Protocol upgrade. The limits placed on the number of assets and smart contracts that an account can create or opt into has been removed. This is a critical milestone to increase scalability potential and performance. So even though I would say that this is more for the developers under us, it's actually really important for all Algorand holders, because at the end of the day, what makes a layer 1 or what makes a protocol like this or a blockchain so popular or usable or really, I guess, out there in the world is the amount of developers or the quality of developers or whatever upgrades in that realm. Developers in the crypto space make your project, and long story short, they now support unlimited assets and smart contracts per address, plus there were some additional API changes and constraints that developers should know of. Plus again, of course, as you can most likely see here, engineering team invested significant time optimizing the underlying database structure to improve the performance of the ledger. Again, just to make sure you guys all understood, before, you cannot do this mostly because you want to keep it as scalable as possible. If you don't understand, read this little section right here. Let me quickly go a little bit to the right so you guys can see it fully. If you guys needed to, let me quickly go like this. There we go. If you really needed to read it fully, here you can quickly go. Just quickly pause it. However, the story stays the same, where in reality, it was kind of, I think, meant from the start to be for the smaller scale to eventually kind of opt out of it all as well. Then we have some breaking news. Wall Street bank Cowen now offers spot Bitcoin trading to institutional clients. We've talked before about how it's so difficult to get a spot Bitcoin ETF going. But you should also remember for yourself, the more bigger banks, the more bigger institutions start offering spot to their clients, most likely also shows the demand for this, and it shows again the SEC at the end of the day is prioritizing here this quote-unquote safety, which again we don't really seem to agree with, over the actual usability. I would personally say over the safety of most people. They're kind of trying to prioritize the safety of the many over the few. I think personally they're doing the opposite, because what basically is happening right now is the bigger institutions can invest through a lot of different means, but usually it has to be some sort of around the corner because of somebody they know. If there were to just be one universal Bitcoin ETF, this entire problem would be gone. At the end of the day, what they're stopping is, in their own heads, bigger clients or clients from investing into Bitcoin because it's less regulated or so, when they're not properly thinking of the fact that any institution that wants to be involved with this can do it anyway. They'll find a different way to do it. So I personally, it's just a way to keep the industry a little bit smaller, because the moment they approve it, they know a lot more money is going to flow into it. Then I think we have a very interesting update here, because apparently the Fed Chair Powell says digital innovation in the finance sector is here to stay. We are just at the beginning. This was said at the BIS summit. But Eleanor Tourette also shared this. Here's the latest from the Fed chair. Existing regulators were not built with digital currencies in mind. There will have to be new rules, laws, and frameworks to deal with digital currencies. And this is a very important, powerful statement because Tony said right there, start packing your bags, Gary Gensler. What is happening right now is a couple of different entities, including the SEC specifically, the US SEC, are stifling innovation. What they're doing is suppressing it in a lot of different ways, shapes, and form, as we're seeing with Library, but specifically with XRP/Ripple. Now, what they're doing is trying to use these 80-year-old rules to work for digital assets when John Deaton, if you guys know him, and a lot of these other players have already explained in a lot of detail why you just can't hold them to the same standard. We can't use laws that apply to oranges and orange groves 80 years ago to digital currencies when computers in the way, they couldn't fathom exactly what we have right now. So they could never really apply these rules properly anymore. A part of irony is definitely due here. Da Vinci said, but Gensler told us the rules were pretty clear. Irony stamp goes here. Remember that the SEC seems to think that the rules are already pretty established. Things are clear. When you're seeing now the different parts of the US, the higher up parts, I would say, are starting to say and speak freely and logically relating and saying, it's not. It can't be. We haven't really built it, and we're trying to, which is why I always come back and say they're not going to ban, I don't think, the Bitcoin, XRP, whatever. They're not going to ban it. They want to make sure it stays in the US as much as possible to be the leader in this sector, as was said in the executive order, but most likely also just work with as many rules as possible to make sure there's tax to be made and less people are in risk at one point. So which is still kind of contradictory for the Bitcoin spot ETF, but hey, again, that's the SEC holding Bitcoin to different standards, which again are not really in line with the current situation. But this was a very, very important tweet / statement from the chair, Jerome Powell. Again, remember, chair of the Federal Reserve, explaining that the SEC's kind of got to pack their bags, pick it up, and start doing something else. They got to look for a new job, kind of. Okay, then this one is, to me, very interesting because it's rather strange. So apparently the Blockchain Association posted that the New York State Assembly is considering a bill today that would enact a 2-year ban on proof of work crypto mining in the state. This is de facto death sentence for crypto mining in New York and a terrible message to send the crypto industry that New York is closed for business. You know, again, as I said before, they're using these rules or they're trying to abide by some sort of energy quota or whatnot. But in reality, what they're doing is, I think, hurting a lot more than whatever they think they're fixing. It hurts me, you know, it gives me a little bit of a broken heart. If you want to fix that, by the way, if you want to help out, make sure you press the like button on this video. It goes a long way because it helps the video perform a little bit better in the YouTube algorithm. Thank you very much. But I actually do watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I've noticed there's a couple of these guys. One, I don't know the name anymore, to be honest with you, but he basically fights Apple a little bit for all the right to repair laws and whatnot. And he actually says in some of his videos that a lot of businesses are leaving New York. It's getting really empty, specifically the last 2 years. Then John Deaton here says as well, the last business to leave New York, please turn off the lights as you exit because the state won't be able to afford the electricity bill. It's really interesting the way in which they're pushing everything away. I am not sure why they're doing that. Not sure if that really is the best way for anything, but they seem to go really heavy on it. Then something which I already described to you guys, but it's now seeing fruition. I posted on Twitter, scarcity for Bitcoin. What I meant is we're seeing Michael Saylor, PayPal, all these different entities circle. I guess there's another one entity with Jack Dorsey, I forgot the name. They're getting really heavily into crypto and they're hoarding. And there's a very good chance that whatever they buy will never go outside of their platform again. So even though PayPal is buying for a lot of other people who then can basically buy it again on their platform, you got to remember that once it's in PayPal, it kind of never leaves anymore. They don't really off-ramp it back to somewhere else. So eventually, PayPal will, for example, have 800,000 of the Bitcoin out of the 21 million. And that's, again, within PayPal's control, kind of, if you guys understand me. Now, what is Luna doing? And Michael Saylor, they're buying tons of Bitcoin because they want to have it in their reserves. They committed to, again, spending $10 billion on this. And right now it says just in. Luna has purchased $125 million worth of Bitcoin for its reserve. It is crazy. It's crazy to me how much money that is, but it's a really beautiful thing because what these guys are doing is a lot better for the ecosystem. But again, I described everything as to why Luna is buying this back. So it's not the most important subject for today. The most important part is that they are right now committing to it, and they just purchased $125 million worth. A lot of people seem to actually think that this is what pumps the market every time a little bit. There's something to be said about it, you know, because every single time that Michael Saylor is committing to such a big sale, usually we see it quite late. But there usually is a little bit of a bullish cycle or inverse or inflow, whatever, because of it. And man, guys, there's just so much happening in the Ripple lawsuit today. There's like a couple of things I need to post, but you guys are saying, man, you've done 4 XRP updates in a row. Please cover something else in the midst. So I'm not sure if the Ripple update goes out first or this one, but I definitely have to record one. Look at that, 13 minutes ago, yet another update. It's number 3 of today. Anyway, the little scarcity tweet is here, by the way. But I actually meant to show you guys this right now. Have you actually ever taken a look at this? It's so fascinating. Here's, for example, the Bitcoin at moon cycles. You can see every time there's a full moon, for example, in the way in which the Bitcoin price moves along with that. You can see the different moon cycles, and every single time at this point, market starts to pump. This point starts to dump. Starts to pump, starts to dump. Starts to pump, starts to dump. You know, you can see it's pretty interesting to watch this. Because if we look at the length of all these little cycles shown in these different colors, the pump phase should actually be taking a little while, right? As they took this screenshot a couple of hours ago, it's a daily chart. This little moon phase, so to speak, should still be taking a couple of days then, like another 7 days or so, would seem quite logical. And you know, we know where our roof is at, about $45,000 or so. I mean, you know what I mean? Anyway. Just quickly blazing through this one, Robinhood has apparently announced a new debit card that will automatically invest in stocks and crypto as you spend, which is just very nice for a lot of people. Personally, I'm not really using Robinhood, so I don't really care, but you know, just want to quickly let you know this space is evolving because this is a very nice deal, and I personally think this is going to help for a lot of people who would rather, for example, let's say spend $2.91, right? $2.91. The 9 cents going into crypto or whatever. It's always a very nice thing to get these small little pieces, but it adds up over longer periods of time. If every single time I made a transaction, the smaller part of the transaction, or for me, if it rounds up to $1, for example, or to tens of dollars or hundreds of dollars or whatever, every time I spend, for example, $91, $278, if it every time rounds up to the nearest 100 or nearest 10 at least, it adds up really like crazy. Then this is a very big subject, but I don't want to spend too much time on it today. Codenamed Project Dunbar. The development also proves that financial institutions could use central bank digital currencies to transact directly with one another on a shared platform, reducing the need for intermediaries. Again, I have it in another article here. Breaking news. Several central banks and the Bank for International Settlements have developed prototypes for a common digital currencies platform. Here it comes, codename, and again, the same thing applies. So whenever you hear this, I think instantly are going to think of Ripple because they're connected in every way, shape, or form to this. I find it difficult to say. You know, there's a lot of different things which can happen in the midst here. It can be, for example, a network where they're all connected to one another, which in reality doesn't change too much for these banks because, you know, there's a lot of problems which Ripple, for example, fixes. One of them is actually needing a lot of trust in one another. In this case here, if a couple of banks come together and say, hey, we have a permissioned trust, again, not trustless, but I guess trustful network, they want to connect each other and use a specific thing. That's not really innovating too much because all they're doing is changing from a traditional currency potentially to a digital one officially. But in reality, it's still just all these guys coming together and deciding on something. The fact that it can basically connect Ripple, right, for example, to the entire world is what makes it so special. And so I kind of sometimes wonder in what shape or form they would talk about this or use this, or how exactly the midst of this is going to be. It's kind of an interesting one. But I guess we should see how it's going to come around, right? If it says on a shared platform, I really wonder how exactly that's going to come about. Maybe what they're saying is just, hey, all these different central banks or, you know, BIS is bringing everybody together because they want to work on something. But then again, it doesn't make sense because then why would Ripple be onboarding all these different guys for CBDCs if they were all in the game, right? I'm assuming that there's just a really small amount of banks that are kind of coming together right now in their little system. But that's, again, most beneficial for them themselves. So the majority of players are still not going to onboard this because it's not that beneficial to them. But again, that is just my speculation. I think Ripple still is very useful in any way, shape, or form. But again, just my opinion on the matter. And now we have a very interesting piece because apparently the Trust Wallet had been removed from the Apple App Store, and this went pretty viral because, well, it's a very well-known wallet. A lot of people use it, and apparently it says here that it's temporarily unavailable, affecting users who want to install or reinstall the iOS app. And one thing I was thinking of for a little while, think with me here, what if you're like thinking for a second like, app is not loading so properly, let me quickly reinstall, because you know how to quickly reinstall it, you got all your codes, so like, quickly do it. You delete it for a second, you try to install it again, but boom, it's gone. Now all of a sudden you cannot access your money anymore because you cannot download the app. It's crazy how they can take something as important as a crypto wallet like this away, because at the end of the day, it's hard to say you're I would say helping people, protect them or anything, when really you're literally ruining people's lives by doing something like that. I just cannot comprehend what the way out should be to do something like this. But again, maybe I am just biased. So take everything that I say with a grain of salt. That was it for today's video though. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it. I covered everything that I could find that I thought was interesting for you guys today. But again, make sure you press the like button if you enjoyed it, and just let me know down below what type of crypto you'd like to see next. And I'm going to try to do a lot more variety stuff. And as I said before, guys, I'm going to try to timestamps every day. Make videos at like standard times, and so I'm going to try a lot of different things to hopefully make the whole experience a lot better and explain anything that's going on better too. I'm just trying to upgrade the entire channel. I took you guys' feedback, too much to boring stuff, make it a little bit more exciting. So right now it's like 4 a.m. so I'm a little bit tired, but still there's so much stuff I just needed to make an update. And again, it's a passion of mine. It's hard to explain why I really want to do this, why I like to give it. A lot of people don't understand that I meet in real life. They're like, why do you make so many updates? I enjoy giving this news out. Maybe because I just really love this space so much that I enjoy everything that's happening. I want to be updated, and I think a lot of you guys have that same feeling. You just want to know what's going on, and hopefully that can increase your pocket value as well. You know, that your pocket becomes from this to this, you know. But yeah, man, I appreciate you guys all stopping by and saying hi as well. Just want to quickly say that. Thank you so much for watching, and a Ripple update is coming out in like a couple of hours.